course set. Alright, g'day ladies and gents, and welcome back to Cold Waters with Mags, and welcome to a bit of a special engagement today. We're bringing out the Skipjack Class, which is something that I haven't brought out in a while. However, first things first, we have contact Sierra 1, so I'm going to have to do a quick identification of this one. And I have a sneaking suspicion on what this is actually going to be. It's very loud and has a very tight noise band. So, yeah, there it is there. Oil rig. You actually hear it in the background, so I was pretty sure that's what that one was going to be. So anyways, today we're doing a custom engagement. Now, we will be hunting at submarine versus submarine combat, no surface ships, or at least no hostile surface ships in this one. Our targets are somewhere between 2 and 4 Victor class submarines. They might be Victor 1s, Victor 2s, or Victor 3s. I don't actually know, so we're just going to find... There's the Victors in the tab. I'm actually just... 130 decibel... 142, 152. Okay, and ambient noise in the water is 85 decibel, so we should be able to hear these reasonably okay. So anyways, we're going to have between 2 and 4 Victor class submarines of what type of Victor, I'm not entirely sure, that's all set to random. We also have potentially up to, or between 0 and 3 trawlers, between 0 and 3 merchant ships, and between 0 and 3 oil rigs, of which we've already got 1 oil rig. And this is just to create some environmental clutter that we may have to work ourselves around. I'm actually very fond of how Cold Waters has set up its custom mission creation tool, because it does mean that you can set it up so you will, even though you're creating the mission yourself from scratch, you will have a certain level of randomness if you want it, that can make the missions quite surprising. Now we're just going to bring it down to 250 meters at the moment. I want to get below the thermal layer here, and see if we can have a listen around at what's going on below it. Because we've got a strong duct here, so between it and the thermal layer, we're probably not going to detect these submarines if they're below, unless we get below ourselves. So anyways, the Skipjack Class submarine. This is a really... God, right as I go to start talking. Fair enough, alright. Sierra 2, what are you? You are definitely a submarine, and you are definitely a Victor. You're a Victor 1. Okay, so, first Victor 1 has already been located. Depth looks at about 650 feet. Where are you heading? Northeast. You're heading northeast, okay. 43% solution, so we're picking up a solution on it fairly quickly here. But this is because it's a Victor 1. As I saw before, over 150 decibels in 85 decibel water. Even the Skipjack's relatively dated equipment is will still be more than sufficient for detecting that. Anyways, as I was saying, the Skipjack Class, built late 1950s, early 1960s, nuclear-powered submarine. These things were the US equivalent of a Soviet Alpha class, at least in the concept for the construction. The Skipjacks were built at a time when the advanced sensor capability that US submarines would become known for in the decades that would follow was still in its infancy. So their passive sonar is not fantastic. Not bad for a submarine at the time, actually pretty good for a submarine at the time, but in comparison to what else would become available, it's not great. In regards to active sonar, pretty much the same story. Again, not horrible for the time frame it was built, but in comparison to what would follow in just the first decade after its construction, it's not great. 59% solution at this point. Target still seems unaware of us. 61, so we're getting up. And yet we've now got a direction. It's definitely heading to the northeast. But yeah, it's systems-wise, it wasn't overly advanced, or at least the technology that was included in Skipjack was very quickly outdated by what would come after. Hello there, Sierra 3. Sierra 3 is definitely a Victor.
Sonar, Sierra 3 is classified as submerged submarine.
So a Victor 1 and a Victor 2, and we're sandwiched in between them. This is getting interesting, although Victor 3 appears to be moving to the southeast, so it's moving away from us at the moment. And we've sort of got the oil rig is on the spacing side between us and the Victor 3, so 40% solution on the Victor 2. The oil rig might be making enough noise to actually cover us, although we're only at 5 knots at the moment, so we're not exactly making a racket. Victor's doing 11.
Come right to 306 helm high.
Alright, torpedo 1. What is our depth? 250. Let's drop that down.
Make depth 5008 dive by.
600 feet.
008 dive by.
I just want to make sure, at the moment the Victor 1 is unaware of the fact that we're here. I just want to make sure before I fire off any torpedoes that the torpedo is roughly at the same depth as the Victor to decrease its chance of outmaneuvering it. Now the Skipjack does carry Mark 48s, so torpedo wise we're not hamstrung here at all, but just wanting to make sure, because as soon as we engage that Victor, it's going to start making a load of noise, and the second Victor is likely going to turn around. Remember, I can have up to 4 enemy submarines in this particular engagement, and I can only see 2 of them. I don't know where the others are, and the common tactic for submarines, especially ones that are grouped, which these all will be, is one will go active, and the other 3 will sit quietly and will listen to the active sonar of the first one in order to work out where you are, so they can engage without going active at all. Alright, let's do a distance check here. 11.2 kiloyards, so we're definitely within torpedo range. Alright, so I'm going to hook shot 1 left, and then 1 right, and then have them cut wide and converge. Well, that was a wasted torpedo, and I don't want to fire another one. Broke the wire as soon as it launched. Yeah, I don't think that's going to cause us any issues. The other one's going to close in. And we just lost Sierra 3. Did we lose Sierra 3 because it went out of range, or did we lose Sierra 3 because it suddenly cut its engines to turn around and head back this way? Although Victor 1 has not reacted yet, so I don't think it heard the transient. Anyways, as I was saying, the technology that in the design of the Skipjack went out of date relatively quickly. The submarine only enjoyed around a 5-year production run, which is relatively short, with I think only 6 boats produced in total. But the Skipjack's claim to fame for its design was its speed. 33 knots when submerged, with some skippers claiming that they managed to get the boat up to 35 knots submerged. It was insanely fast, very much like the Alpha class in terms of its design. It actually took until the production of the 688, the Los Angeles class, to build a boat that was quicker than the Skipjack. Everything that followed the Skipjack was actually slower. Nothing bettered in terms of speed for decades. And while the design of the Skipjack didn't date particularly well, technology developed and tested in the Skipjack's design did find its way into pretty much every single submarine that was built by the US Navy following the Skipjack's development. So it was almost sort of like the narwhal, is a way of trying to think of it, used as a test bed for technologies that would make its way into future, more highly produced submarine designs. And this Victor is still unaware of us. 95% solution. We know the depth. The torpedo is looking good, and it is out far enough at the moment that counters shouldn't see it. Now, we actually want to activate it a little short here. That should probably do it. And the Victor just heard the torpedo. Oh, I don't like that active ping. We're close enough that it should be able to hear us on active, so this hook shot may not work. Come on, Victor. There we go. Torpedoes on course to intercept. Now, looks like the counterfire is on the torpedo, so we don't have to worry about that. Noisemaker is out. Torpedo. God, it was good on the aim. Alright, torpedo has acquired the target. Making a hell of a racket. And let's turn active back on. Reacquire it. There it is. There's the countermeasure. Let's just manually guide it in on the wire around the countermeasure. Just shut that active ping up. Alright. Sierra 2 eliminated. Come on. Turn around. Gotcha, easy. Alright. So that's the Victor out. We don't have to worry about its counterfire. Its counterfire is well out of the way. Actually, that counterfire's got a bigger chance of hitting the oil rig than it does us. Now, where the hell did our Victor 2 go? Screw it, let's get this ready. Sneaky little bastard. That's the oil rig, fair enough. Not exactly what I'm looking for here.
Switching to active search.
Now, where are you?
Sonar regained contact.
Oh, hello there.
3 bearing 072.
Alright, depth is still 600 meters. We've only got a 14% solution on them thanks to the active sonar. Ping is lined up. We're getting a second ping. Yep. Oil rigs don't ping. We've got another submarine down there.
Come left to 063 Helm I.
Alright, we'll deal with this Victor 2. Hook shot again.
Shoot 2-4. Aye, sir.
Excellent. The wire didn't break this time. Alright, so we're going to send this out wide. Looks like the Victor 2 might be... Yep, looks like it's moving northwest. Although now we've pinged and it's pinged in return, it may turn.
Con, helm, steady course.
we can get this torpedo out wide. 68% solution. So we now have a direction of travel. It looks like it's at about 8 knots, so it's looking for us. 73. I'm a bit concerned. We've wound up wedged between two submarines here again. The other one is to our flank. I'm really not happy with it being there. We're 10.6 kiloyards from target. Yeah, that's almost directly to our flank. But no counterfire, at least not that we've heard at this point, so they didn't hear the transient again. So it's not that close. It's probably, I reckon, about here, just north of the oil rig. About the same distance that the Mk.II appears to be from us at the moment, at a guess. We're losing solution a little here. Alright. We'll send it out a little bit wider first. Victor is turning in our direction, so it's going to be closing the gap a little bit as well. And I'd rather have it panic turn and come down this way than have it start lobbing anything in our general direction. Although, having said that, if its torpedoes didn't come directly onto us, it could wind up shooting itself, but this should be good enough. Right, 9.2 kiloyards from us. Torpedo is probably half that distance, or probably about 5 kiloyards. 10 minutes left on the timer. And alright, come on. It should be right there. It should be right there. Alright, weapon acquired. Sonar active. Is now maneuvering away. Interesting, the Victor didn't actually start maneuvering until after the torpedo went active. Come on, turn back. Right. Just trying to maneuver the torpedo around the underside of this countermeasure. And it's straight into maneuvering again, so we're going to manually control it. Come on. Alright, now it should come back around and acquired. Now, how close did we get this? Oh, perfect. Hands off. Boom. Mk.II taken out. Ourselves back around here, and let's see if we can find this next one. It's odd that they're spread out so wide across this battlefield. I would have expected them to be grouped much more tightly, but from the looks of this, one was at the oil rig, or in the vicinity of the oil rig. We had one to our left and one to our right, so when the random mission generator created this mission, it essentially dropped us in between 3 of them. it's only 85 decibels in the water. I would have thought that they would have come after me a lot more than that. Still, there could be a fourth one floating around out here somewhere as well.
Con, torpedo room 2, bearing 247, designated Sierra 4.
There you are. Although I don't believe for a second that you are that far away, but what are you? You're a Victor 1.
Con, sonar, Sierra
Right.
4 is classified as submerged submarine.
How far away are you? 37.5 out of torpedo range. Yeah, I don't believe for a second
Switching to active
that you're
search.
that far out. Where are you? Actually, let's do that again
Switching to active
and let it
search.
sit. There's the return. Oh, not the return, it's ping, rather.
Con, sonar, switching to passive search.
That's it, pinging. The bearing's right. But yeah, I don't believe... Oh, hello there. Yep, there it is. I knew you weren't that far away.
Aye, sir.
Right, sonar off. Let's... Actually, no, let's not fire this torp. We'll just go with torp 2. We only need one to kill the target.
Con, helm.
And it didn't counterfire the second we fired, so again, it did not hit a launch transient there. Yeah. Activated about halfway. That should be in line with its own ping now. It's still closing. Yeah, we'll leave the torp as it is on settings. Let's jump location again. Alright, 11.9 kiloyards. That's still... Let's straighten this up. It's still within weapons range, so we'll let our torpedo sort this out. Yeah, depth is at about 700 feet. Torpedo's at 600, so it's within 100 feet of the depth, so it should track no problems at all once it acquires. The question is, where is this Victor in reality? Waiting. Although it's looking like that may be roughly the real location. You know, give or take a couple of 100 meters in any direction, that might be pretty close to being right. Okay, come on. Find him and track him. There's the launch transient. No, it's a bit further out than I thought. Come on, the sonar doesn't lie. Where are you now? There we go. Weapon has acquired. Victor 1, 95% solution. It's already turned. Torpedoes tracking 2, not yet maneuvering for the countermeasure. and that's the second time a torpedo's been that close. It shows how the AI does its counterfire based on what it detects and how accurate it is with assessing that location. When it detects a torpedo, that's the second torp that's been just a few feet away from mine as they've crossed over. And you're done, my friend. And another Victor down. Alright, let's cruise speed 10 knots and let's head for the surface a little. Get away from this torpedo. Alright, ladies and gents, so that is the end of this engagement. I spent about 10 minutes following the end of this, just hunting around to make sure there wasn't a fourth submarine that I hadn't detected before ending the mission, and in fact there wasn't. 2 Victor 1s and a Victor 2, all 3 sunk, and the Skipjack performed fairly well. Although I was a little disappointed with how the auto mission actually places submarines in this particular engagement. I may do something else with the Skipjack again, but I might up the difficulty level a little bit more. Maybe add a different combination of submarines, limit it to only the Victor 3s, maybe a few Alphas, and maybe put a couple of surface ships in so we can put this thing through its paces a little bit harder. Anyways, ladies and gents, hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you very much for watching. As always, remember to check the video description down below for links to my social media, to my Twitch, to my Patreon, so on and so forth. And remember to give this video a like if you did, subscribe if you want to see more, and until next time, dive smart, dive safe, and I'll catch you in the depths.